Hi friends, this is Denario Research and welcome to the third part of cryptocurrency arbitrage tutorial. In this video series I will show you how to create your own arbitrage bot. In the previous part we have defined architecture of our arbitrage bot and today we start coding it. Actually we begin with the first element of the event loop, market data receiver. So our first goal is to create data receiver that will listen to Poloniex and Bitfinex, get order book data from both exchanges, process it, and pass it to data analyzer. In this video series, I will use nice project management tool Trello for tasks tracking. So initially we have three tasks. The first one is requesting data from Bitfinex, requesting data from Poloniex, and the third one is to design some kind of the object that will store order book data from both exchanges. But before we begin coding, let's create file structure and initialize our project. Like I said before, I will create this bot in JavaScript language and we'll try to keep it as simple as possible. So from your side, extra JavaScript knowledge is not required. At least you should know basic concepts like for loops, if statements, and callbacks. I will skip some complex parts like promises, async, and many others that may make this bot very efficient and high performant, but at least this bot will be very simple to understand and code will be readable, but probably not performant as it could be. So let's go to the terminal and create directory for our bot. Make directory, let's call it arb_bot. Let's go there, arb_bot, and create app.js. Let's keep it empty for now. Touch app.js. This will be actually main file for our project. And let's run npm init. Package name arbot, version, let's make it 0.01. Description, let's keep this part. Entry point app.js. Test command, let's make it node app.js. Git repository, so let's skip this part as well. Keywords skipping, author skipping, license skipping, and yes. So now we have created file which is called package.json. Yes, here it is. In this package.json we'll store all dependencies, by this I mean libraries that will be used in our project. Let's also create one more directory and call it markets. So mkdir markets. In this directory we'll store files that are related to API, trading functions, and so on. So in this markets directory, let's create two files. So let's go there, markets, and let's create two files. The first one would be polotrade.js, trade.js, and the second one will be Bitfinex. So let's call it bfxtrade.js. Actually, if you plan to add some other exchanges or add more exchanges, so you can create files that are similar to this in folder markets. Now we are ready to write some code. Here is our file structure we created, and I will begin with bfxtrade.js because Bitfinex part is a little bit easier for me. The first thing we need is Bitfinex API node. This is official library created by Bitfinex, and it is a wrapper of Bitfinex API. In order to initialize this library, we can simply copy this code and paste it. Okay, let's paste. Okay, here what we have. BFX requires Bitfinex API node, and we initialize Bitfinex BFX object. So we do not need API keys for now, so let's remove them. So we need, and let's leave default setup of WebSockets as it is. Okay, so since we have requested Bitfinex API node, we need to install it. Let's go to terminal and install it. We can do that with command node, npm install --save. This key will say information about this library into package.json and package name Bitfinex API node. Okay, let's wait for completion of installation. Library is installed, and we will use Bitfinex API version 2. But actually I have observed very weird thing. The code that I have installed through npm is a little bit different than code from GitHub. And in order to fix this issue, if you have the same problem as I have, so let's go to lib folder, transports, and vs2.js, click row. So let's copy this entire code and paste it into node modules, Bitfinex API node, lib, transports, and vs2.js. So let's clear everything here and paste new code. Okay, now we are ready to initialize WebSockets. So let's create another constant, call it WebSockets, and it is equal to BFX WebSockets. If you plan to use version 1, you need to put 1 here. By default, version is 2. And we need to add some error handling. So if we have some errors, WebSocket on error, we'll console error. Okay, now we need create object BFX trade. So BFX trade equals to some empty object now, and we'll export this object. So module exports equal to BFX trade. Inside BFX trade object, we need to create some properties. The first one would be pairs, arbitrage. This pairs property will be empty array. Second property is order book, where we'll store information about bids and asks. So this would be an empty object. And 2 functions. The first one would be init pairs, that will actually initialize everything. It is function with 1 parameter pairs array. And the second function is get orders, which will pull order book information from Bitfinex. Function with no parameters and empty for now. So now let's implement init pairs function. Firstly, we need assign pairs array to pairs property. So this pairs equals to pairs array. Now we need to build order book object. So let's loop through pairs array, pair of pairs array, and this order book, we create key pair, and this key will be equal to the object. It will contain two objects. The first one is bits, which will keep information about highest bid. So we'll store price information. For now, let's assign 0 value, and amount information. Amount which also equals to 0. In the same way, we create asks object, asks, which also stores information about price and amount, so we can copy and paste this data. Okay, we have just created through for loop order book object, and order book object for every pair contains information about highest bid and lowest ask. Now let's work with WebSockets. So firstly, we need to open them. WebSockets open, and before we do that, let's do something on open. On open, sorry, typo. And once Bitfinex WebSockets are opened, we will subscribe to order book channels. So for this, let's create another loop, pair of pairs array, and WebSockets subscribe order book. So we need to subscribe to a channel for every pair we plan to arbitrage, so pair. Now we need to set some precision, so number of decimals. The highest precision is P0, and number of rows from order book that Bitfinex will return. Because we need only highest bid and lowest ask, we need only first row. So let's set it equal to 1. Okay, oh, sorry, I have yet another typo here. We have created init pairs function, so let's save it, and let's go to app.js and test this function. Firstly, let's import BitFinix trade. So create another constant, which name BitFinix trade, and it is equal to require markets BitFinix trade. So now let's create an array of pairs we plan to arbitrage. Const BitFinix pairs, and so let's add Ethereum to BTC, Ripple to BTC, and Litecoin to BTC. Of course, in the future, you can change these pairs array or add some new pairs. It's up to you. Now we need to initialize, call init pairs function. So BitFinix trade init pairs, BitFinix pairs array. And for test purpose, let's print order book information, console log BitFinix trade order book. Let's look how it looks like. Click Save, go to Terminal, Node, app.js. Yes, as you see, we have created order book correctly, have pair name, information about bits, and information about asks. So now we can move further. Let's work with getOrders function. So we'll use this function to pull order book data. So here we'll use WebSockets on receiving order book information. Order book will receive two parameters. First one is a pair name, and the second one is book information. Let's print this information to see how it looks like. Console log pair book. Hit save. Let's go to app.js. Remove this row. bfx trade dot get orders. Save, and let's run the code. Here is output of our code. Bitfinex prints pair name with some weird T prefix, which I think should be removed, and array with order book data. From this array we need only two elements. The first one is price value, and the last one is amount value. You see some amounts have negative values. That means that is amount of lowest ask. So let's use this array data to fill order book object. Let's create self variable self, which equals to this. This will allow to get access to pairs and order book property from the callback. And if price is greater than 0, that means it will work with bits, and if price is less than 0, that means we'll work with asks. In order to get price, we'll use the following condition. Book, first row, third element with index 2. If this element is greater than 0, then we need to update bits part. So self order book, pair name, but remember we need to remove T prefix, so substring first element, bits, price in quotes equals to book, first row, 0th element, so first element with index 0. Let's copy this row and do the same for amount. Amount. Here we'll use the third element with index 2. So it's greater than 0. If it is less than 0, so else, it means that we work with asks. So let's copy this part and replace bits with asks. Okay, let's save and test code. Node app.js. Okay, bool is not defined, of course, because I made a typo. It is book. And let's print information about order book. Console log self order book self. Hit save and purchase later and run the code. Let's run the code and wait for a while. Node app.js. As you see, some parts of our order book are empty because we have not received information about bids and asks. But about 10-15 seconds later, everything is filled. So you see, for instance, per Ethereum, we have information about highest bid, its price, amount of Ethereums, and the same for asks, price, and amounts. Well, in order to avoid negative numbers, let's multiply price by -1. Let's run code again. Yes, as you see, now asks and bids are both positive numbers. Well, this is all for today. In this video, we have created market data receiver for Bitfinex. So let's move this into Done tab. And in the next video, we'll do the same for Poloniex. And also we'll pull both receivers from Bitfinex and Poloniex into one object. Thumbs up if you like this video, subscribe to my channel if you want more videos, and leave your questions in the comment section below. Bye!